Hi YouTube, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. You can find me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. So, you guys know that I, bought a new place with a new shop, all that kind of stuff, right? Now the shop is pretty much up and running. I got 4 knives over on the bench. They're the first 4 knives that are going to be finished in the new shop. Still working through, mostly kind of finding tools and stuff. So like the other day I went to grind some knives, and we got the power fixed, started up the, so the grinders were working good. Went ahead and fired up the grinder, took a couple of passes on a heat treated blank, and went to find, decided I needed my micrometer, and looked around, couldn't find my micrometer. Well, so I unpacked like 10 boxes till I finally found the micrometer. Well, heck, by that time the day was over with, and time to shut it down for the day. So a lot of the stuff around the shop and those 4 knives have been like that, so like the other day when I fit the handles up for them, fitting up 4 handles, now just, getting the holes drilled, everything flat, fit up to the blade or the handle or the blank, not shaping or gluing up or anything like that, but fitting 4 handles from the starting stock of wood that I had should have taken me, maybe hour and a half. Yeah, it took like a day and a half by the time I tracked down all my drill bits, and found my trial pins and all that kind of stuff. So it's taken a little while, but we are getting there. And like I said, those 4 knives will be the first ones finished in the new shop, and I'm pretty excited to get those done probably this weekend, I would guess. But anyway, this video right here is on the new meat cooler. The last time I think I shot a video that I was talking about the insulation and everything, I got everything done up to about there, just to the right of the power hammer, right about in there somewhere. And so I still had this whole wall section right here, along with this whole wall section here, along with that corner that wasn't insulated. And I was thinking I'm probably going to go ahead and bolt my power hammer down next week. When I moved it into the shop, I put it on rollers and rolled it all the way back up in there so where it was out of the way, and I'm pretty sure that's where it was going to go. Well, sitting on those rollers, the bottom plate started sagging a little bit. So I got it moved in there in place, and I wanted it to sit for a couple of weeks before, to let that steel kind of relax and flatten back out before I bolted it down to the ground. So I'll probably end up bolting it to the floor next week, maybe the week after, and get back to doing some forging, which will be exciting. But anyway, I wanted to go ahead and finish this whole wall section out, and then so I cleaned it all out. Got the walls framed in, got them insulated, got them covered with the OSB, finished up the ceiling up in there, and then I thought, well, I knew this was where I wanted to put the meat cooler, and I wasn't planning on putting it up until sometime this summer, when I had some more time. And then I thought, wait a minute, this corner is already cleaned out. It might be a while before, if I don't build it now, it'll just get cluttered up with junk, and it'll be a while before it's clean enough to do it again. So I went ahead and built the meat locker, or meat cooler, whichever one, and I figured I'd share it with y'all. So my first one that I built, you can go back in my list of videos. I want to say it was about 5 years ago. My hunting buddies and I, we went up elk hunting. I'll get in front of you. And opening morning, we got 3 elk. Now, opening morning would have been October 15th, and our hunting seasons are getting hotter and hotter, it seems like, lately. And let's see, it was a friend of mine and I hunting together, got 2 elk, and then one of the other guys, he got another one, off hunting by himself. I think he got his elk back that day, and we got one of our elk back that day. So we hung them up on a meat pole for the night, and it was still really hot, even up there in the mountains. The next day we went back for the last of the meat that we didn't get the first day, and I want to say it was just so hot, we just said to heck with it. We had some other hunters in camp that were, needed some help, you know, while they were hunting, due to age and such. And so I went ahead and loaded up all 3 elk in the back of my truck, drove to the nearest town, bought them out of ice, packed the ice in the, you know, the bed of the truck with the elk, went home, put my rifle up, put my hunting pack up, took a shower, started cutting elk, and I didn't quit cutting elk for 2 days until I got it all cut up, just because it was so hot. I didn't dare stop in case, you know, I was going to be spoiling some of the meat because it was so hot. So that's when I went ahead and I built that first walk-in meat cooler. And it was a takedown version. My shed was a 10 by 10, and so I insulated the 3 exterior walls of half of the shed, the ceiling and the floor, and then the inside wall, it took down. So most of the year, that inside wall stayed underneath the shed. And then when it was time for hunting season, why then I'd pull that, pull that styrofoam wall section out, you know, mount it in place, duct tape the seals, run an extension cord to the AC units, fire it up, and, you know, 30 minutes later, everything was cooled down real nice. And then it stayed up till after hunting season was over with, and then I took it back down and then stored my lawnmower back in there where, you know, for the rest of the year. So anyway, so there's a new place, you know, I've got quite a bit more space. I actually was going to build, when we were first talking about moving and buying a new place and everything, that was, I think we started planning 4 or 5 years ago. I was going to build a really, really nice meat cooler and workups like building. Like a freestanding shed or building, whichever one you want to call it, that had like a cooler in one side, and then it had like a cutting room in the other side, complete with running water, a little bit of electricity, and then a rail system so that you back your truck up to one end, hook the animal, or have an A-frame, lift the animal up out of your truck, put it on a rail system, slip it into the cooler or the storage section, let it hang in there for a week or so, and then when you were ready to actually work it up, you would open up an interior door and go from that room into the cutting room that would stay a little bit warmer but still fairly cool, and then cut it up there, and then all you'd have to do is take it from, you know, that room into the house where the freezers were. But, you know, life changes and everything, and so what I was looking at when I was about ready to build this one here is, you know, my boy is 17 now. I mean, it's only going to be another couple years before, you know, he strikes out on his own. And just be my wife and I and the Labradors and the chickens and whatever else. And I'm not too sure that we can eat enough to justify a big building like that. So I got to thinking about it, and I thought, you know, we have this corner in the shop. It's probably not going to be used for much anything else. We'll just go ahead and build a simple cooler in the shop. This one's not a takedown version. And then, you know, when it's time to work up meat, you know, especially since I have the new grinding room and it stays relatively dust-free in here, well, we can store deer or elk or whatever in the cooler, and then when it's time that day to work up meat, you know, then we'll just, you know, sweep everything up in here, put one of the, I call them church tables, you know, those foldable type tables, pull one of them out, go ahead and work up the meat, and then put it in the freezer, and away we go. So anyway, so here is the new cooler. Like I said, not a takedown version. It is a 4 foot this way, 8 foot this way, and then 8 foot tall. I was going to make it all the way to the ceiling, which is 9.5 foot, but I decided not to and just use that space for storage. It still retains the 2 cooler setup. I don't know if you can, well, we'll see that on the inside. We do have a nice door. This is the door from one of the doors from the house that somebody kicked in, but it is an exterior door, so you know it is full of styrofoam inside the door. It is hinged, so it's, you know, automatic closing. I've just got a you know, one of the door stoppers on there, but that's an automatic closing door, which, you know, will be nice for the meat locker. And then we come in here. There's the two AC setup. Of course, you know, these are the same two AC units that I had in the old one. So when I moved, once I had the room built and everything, and had the insulation up, I went ahead and just put both, you know, just set both units in there, right? Fired them up and started them and made sure that they were still cooling before I went ahead and used the spray foam insulation stuff to go ahead and seal them in, because that stuff acts like freaking glue. When I went to cut these units out of the old locker, boy, I mean, it was fighting tooth and nail to get that stuff cut, to get those AC units out. So I test fired them before I spray foamed them in, right? Make sure that they worked. Well, then once I got them in, let the spray foam cure for a day, then I decided to go ahead and do, you know, a real run, let them run for a day, you know, make sure everything was running the way it was supposed to. And the older unit on the right fired up beautifully, brought the room down to 34 degrees Fahrenheit within, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes, and kept it there for the half a day that I tested it. The newer unit, the one that's got the, you know, the funky digital readout that I have to, you know, do like this secondary type thermostat setup with the light bulb and everything. It ran for about 2 or 3 hours, and then I left the shop to go do something, and I came back and it was off. It had tripped the power strip. I, you know, reset the power strip, tried to fire it up, and it wouldn't run. So I'm probably going to be looking for a nice older unit like this one to replace that one with this summer. I mean, I'm not planning on working anything up this summer unless, you know, I find a deal on a hog or a lamb or something. But anyway, so, you know, I'd really still like having the two AC units in case one of them goes bad, you know, especially dealing with used units. You know, you'd hate to have one of them go bad and then, you know, right in the middle while you have, you know, 3 deer in here, and then have to work up all that meat right then and there without being able to schedule it. We've got 4 rows of these eyelets. Where are we at? There we are. Yep, these eyelets right here. Hey, y'all get out of here. Come on. Hey, out. Out. I tell you, the dogs, you always got to be underfoot. You know, they're great, but sometimes they kind of get in the way. So these eyelets right here, they are all set in 4x4s. So, you know, framed in the, and of course you can't see it from here. Let's see, because they're covered by the OSB. But you know, I framed in the walls, framed in that wall, framed in this wall, hooked them together with these two, and then across the top we've got 4-foot sections of 4x4. I think they're just pines going across the top, resting on both of the walls. So I should be able to hold quite a bit of weight. The old locker only had 2x4s going across, and they were just the built-in ceiling joists for the shed. So this is built about 2 or 3 times as sturdy as what the old one was. As far as the insulation goes, so the exterior walls of the shop, you know, they've got a layer of the styrofoam, which is 1.5 inches thick, and then I framed in the actual walls with 2x6s, and then rolled in faced R19, the real Pink Panther type insulation. So I've got an R24 on the exterior walls, and then the cooler itself, all of the walls have got 2 layers of the 1.5 inch thick styrofoam, which is, I want to say it's an R5. It should say on here somewhere. I don't see where it says it, but somewhere I remember thinking that this was an R5 per sheet of it. So with 2 layers of R5, we should have an R10 on, you know, each of these walls. The ceiling has got, you know, a continuous layer of the 1.5 inch, and then in between the 4x4s, it's got 2 layers of the 1.5 inch also. The floor, I haven't done anything with the floor. It's just concrete. The last cooler, I had a 1 inch thick piece of the styrofoam sheeting with a layer of OSB on top of it that I painted so that blood would clean up a little bit easier on it. I haven't decided what to do with this, if I'm going to do that or just put like a sheet of linoleum down or something. The light, I went ahead and put one of those nice 4 or 3 foot long LED fluorescent style type lights. Thermometer with a humidity controller. If I didn't mention it already, so to set up these AC units to run as like a refrigeration unit, on these older units it's really super easy. You take, these are the wires right here for the thermostat for the AC unit, right? This right here is nothing more than a thermostat out of a refrigerator, a household refrigerator. And then of course I made a nice little bracket for it, you know, to hold it up. And then that's the thermostat wire for the refrigerator thermostat. So on this unit right here, it was super easy. You cut the AC thermostat out, you wire in your refrigerator thermostat, and then you turn the thing on and, you know, turn the setting until you get to about the setting that you want according to your thermometer, and away she goes. I can't remember if this one's got a automatic restart, so if the power fails or not, but it's, you know, insanely cheap. I mean, I think I bought this with my first house before we learned about swamp coolers. So I think I've had that AC unit now for 20 years, you know, and once we got the swamp cooler in the last house, this was just, it was sitting in a shed, you know, I mean, we weren't using it. And so, yeah, I mean, I would expect to be able to pick up one of these off of Craigslist or Facebook or something like that for, I don't know, maybe 50 bucks, you know, or at a yard sale for maybe even a little bit less. The newer units, that one, I think, I don't even remember where I got that one at, but it's one of the newer units with the control panel, and like I said, it's kind of funky to get the thermostat to work right. There's an outfit out there called CoolBot, or the unit is called a CoolBot, I guess, and I pulled them up on my phone. This outfit right here, you might have to pause it and look at it a little bit closer, but it's called storeitcold.com. They make this thing called the CoolBot, which it's kind of like the setup that I have up there with like the secondary thermostat with the light bulb, only like done up really nice and not, you know, kind of pieced together. So apparently this right here has got its own little, you know, computer brain or something, and it's got like a little heating element in it. So you plug this on, or you take your AC unit's thermostat, plug it into this, mount it next to the AC unit, and this will heat up, has a heating element in it, and it'll heat up the thermostat on the AC unit, thereby tricking the AC unit into running at much cooler temperatures than what it normally would. I've never used one of these. They look like they're really cool, and now apparently they have Wi-Fi with them also. That right there is the reason that I never played with one of those. You know, I mean, if you had the extra cash and everything, you know, that looks like a really cool way to do it. But, you know, most of the time I deal with stuff out of the junkyard. And refrigerator thermostat. I don't even know that the junkyard fella charged me anything for it. You know, I get so much scrap stuff from him. I think when I went and picked those up, he was like, dude, just take them. One thing that I will say about that CoolBot unit is that it has a defroster cycle on it. Here in Wyoming, we're dry enough that the only time I ever had a problem with these units icing up was when we had a pretty wet year and the sprinkler system went off. And when the sprinkler system would go off, I think we watered like every third day or so. When the sprinkler system went off, then we would get some icing on the AC units. And it really wasn't that big of a deal. I think we got like this much ice on it, and then over the next couple of days it melted off just fine, and it didn't really hurt anything. So if you live in an area that's got a lot of high humidity, I would look into that CoolBot just for the fact that it has a defroster cycle on it. And that Wi-Fi looks mighty cool too, you know, and it probably has like an alarm. So if something bad happens, you know, one of your AC units goes down or something, it'll probably text you and let you know, which that would be cool. So I think that's about it for the cooler portion. Oh, the humidity control. So I did have humidity control in my last one, which I didn't show in the video, because I only got 2 videos on it. But controlling the humidity in a room like this is really easy. You take a 5-gallon bucket, fill it up with water, take an old t-shirt, put yourself a hook, you know, somewhere where the air coming from your AC unit comes out, and then put a humidity indicator in the cooler somewhere, whether it's, you know, on the wall like this one, or whether it's one of those remote ones. And then when your humidity gets too low, dunk that t-shirt in a bucket of water and hang it up on that hook, and that way it blows the air across the wet t-shirt and raises the humidity in the cooler. Real simple and easy. I found that I want to say I was dunking the t-shirt about every 3 or 4 days. And that helps with you know, keeping the deer or elk moist enough so that when you go to skin them in a week or 10 days or so, you know, everything isn't dried out and the skin comes off easy. So so that's the cooler part of this and everything. So now we've got this nice cooler, and it does not take down. So then I got to thinking about it, and I was like, well, what am I going to use this for the rest of the year? Or is there anything that I can use it for, you know, to get more use out of this space? And then my wife was talking about, you know, it's springtime. It's about time to start the seeds for a garden. And I thought, hey, we have got an insulated room that we can control the temperature in as far as cooling it down with the AC units. But you know, all we need is like one of those little milk can heaters. You know, they've got, or really any room heater has got built-in thermostats in them, right? So we have a thermometer to let us know what the temperature is. So I went and got another one of these wire racks here. We already had some grow lights. I can't remember if this is a grow light or a black light. I know this one's a grow light. We got power into the room and everything. We've got seedling, you know, heat mats. So the next step for this room, it'll probably be this weekend, is to go ahead and grab a milk can heater, stick it in here, start warming it up, find out what setting that we're going to need on that space heater, and probably set the thing at, I don't know, 70 degrees Fahrenheit or so. Wire up these lights and maybe some more, you know, the undersides of these racks. Get some trays and everything for the garden seeds, and then we're going to turn this into a seed starting room. So we'll use it as a cooler, you know, during hunting season, and then you know, if we end up picking up hogs or steers or anything like that from rancher buddies, and then also use it for a seed starting room in the spring. And then, I don't know, we may end up, growing like microgreens or, whatever else in here, the rest of the year, just to get more use out of the space. I mean, why not? It's already insulated, it's already built, it's going to stay here anyway, might as well get the extra use out of it. And so if that works out, well then maybe I'll shoot a video and let you know how that does. But anyway, so I'm really excited to have the new cooler up and going. Like I said, that, I did not know what I was missing when I didn't have a meat cooler. And that year that we got them 3 elk and I ended up, I will never go through that again. I mean, I'd almost rather, I've never actually paid somebody to work up a game animal for me, but I'd almost rather do that than not have a meat cooler again. These things are so handy for hunters. You go out hunting all week long, or whatever your job or work schedule it is, and it typically, you almost about half the time, you end up getting your deer and bringing it back, and you got to go back to work that afternoon or the next morning. The weather is a big variable as far as hanging meat, and these coolers just take an awful lot of that away. Now with the cooler, like this coming year, when it's time to go antelope hunting, my boy and I, we typically go after school to a friend of mine's ranch. So probably that morning I'll come out here, plug the AC units in, start it up, get the room temperature down real nice, and then he'll come home after school, we'll jump in the truck, we'll go up antelope hunting. If we pick up 1 or 2, then we come home, or dress them out up there, bring them home. Hey, you two, you're bumping the cameras. Yes, out, come on, out. Bring them home, clean them up a little bit, come in, hang them up in the meat cooler, and then let them hang for a week or 2. And then when we get a nice day, we'll come out, work them up, put them in the freezer. Everything's nice and easy going. There's not the rush to get them worked up and into the freezer before the meat spoils. I think the hanging makes them more tender, and if there is any gaminess, it kind of seems to calm that down some also. So anyway, cost. I want to say that this is a 4x8x8. So that makes use of the standard 4x8 sheets pretty easy, and 2x4x8s pretty easy also. So with double walled insulation, so I want to say that it cost me about $100 for about 100, maybe 150 for the wood. Your 2x4s and the 1, 2, 3, 4 sheets of OSB for the outside. Now this is for a cooler that's built indoors, so against 2 existing walls already. So you might have maybe $200 in wood for something like this inside another building if you weren't going against existing walls. So, call it maybe 300 if you were actually putting a roof with shingles on it and, freestanding. The insulation, these sheets are about 20 bucks a piece. So, and like I said, it's a double layer. So you would have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 sheets, 14 sheets. Yeah, so about 14 sheets at 20 bucks a piece. That's what, somewhere around $300 or so. The AC units, like I said, I like the older ones for those, so if you can pick those up at yard sales or whatever, I don't think I'd spend more than $100 on those. So, all told, maybe $500–600, to build something similar to this. And, that's one of those things that if you're going to be hunting for the next couple of decades, build the thing and you will, I hope you get as much enjoyment out of yours, or as much use out of it as I have. And, I guess that came in and built this one as fast as I did after moving into the place and getting the shop set up is, lets you know how important I think they are. So anyway, again, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. You can find me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Hope it helped out a little bit. The next place, if you're looking to build one of these, whether you want to buy the CoolBot or not, would be the CoolBot's website. I store at cold.com, if I remember right. Even if you don't buy their CoolBot unit, that website is a wealth of information on how to build these things. Now, I didn't look into their website that much this time, but when I built the first one, I had no idea what size AC unit to use, how many square footage that particular size AC unit would cool, what type of insulation, all that kind of stuff. And their website has got it all on there. They've got room sizes, AC unit sizes, types of AC units, brands of AC units that they've worked with that have worked well for them, ones that haven't. Like I said, sizes, square footages, a wealth of information on that website on how to build these things. And like I said, if you're in a situation where you're getting brand new AC units, or maybe you're not comfortable with changing out the thermostats, or you want to buy everything brand new, or you like that Wi-Fi setup, that their CoolBot's got on it, maybe pick up their CoolBot, whatever it's called, doohickey. I think if, I'm pretty cheap and work with salvage materials most of the time because I enjoy it. But, if you're going to be using something like this for the next 10 or 20 years, I think that $400 for their setup would be pretty cool also. So again, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. You can find me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you need one of those, get busy building it. You'll enjoy it. And hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you next time.